Hi everyone, thanks so much for coming. WikiLeaks is a gift to history. We have now, for the first time, the ability to write history not only through the eyes of the victors. WikiLeaks has become a leveller between people and government. It has ushered in an age where we, the people, have access to information once deemed for their eyes only. For years, Australia has wantonly participated in brutal, unnecessary wars in the name of freedom and democracy, as excessive governments can't seem to say no to the US. Thanks to the courageous work of WikiLeaks, we have an in-depth resource enabling us to put these wars into perspective and make informed decisions as to whether we, the Australian people, think our involvement is wise and in our national interest. Both in the Afghan and Iraq War releases to tell a different story than our government and the MSN would have us believe. It is becoming more apparent that the government's idea of national interest is in conflict with our own. We have learned that the dire situation that people seeking asylum go through, and it suits certain members in our parliament. WikiLeaks' US Embassy cables revealed the truth in the agenda behind Stop the Boats. We know that a 5-country cartel of Australia, US, Canada, South Africa and Switzerland have joined forces to promote mining interests at the expense of Indigenous people and their land. We have learned from the Stratfor email release that our government is just a bit too chummy with the US, and which ministers were communicating with the US in a manner some would regard as treason and or spying. We learned the once faceless men of the Labor Party felt Gillard would be more pragmatic as a Prime Minister than Rudd. We learned that our government was happy to serve Julian Assange to the US regardless of his innocence or his Australian citizenship. We have learned, and this cannot be disputed, that our government is sycophantic in the extreme towards the US, and we are hardly more than a client state, with the government lacking the maturity to think for themselves, regardless what Australian people want. We have only recently started to see the latest WikiLeaks release, the Syria files. The release not only allows us to see the machinations of big business and governments regarding Syria, but it, like previous releases, is a remarkable resource for education and training. These things are a gift to history from WikiLeaks. We here today are in the eye of the storm in history. Australia should be proud of WikiLeaks and its editor-in-chief, Julian Assange, in the fight not only for freedom of speech, but freedom generally. We need to give backing to WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. Our government has tried ignoring us. We have written, called, emailed our MPs and senators, often having to inform them of the irregularities of the case. We have used resources like justiceforassange.com to get facts out. We have grown in numbers, and it's our numbers that dictate how long they will ignore us. We must continue to talk to others and inform them. Take to the streets as we have today, ad nauseum. You can sign up to the mailing list for Support Assange and WikiLeaks Coalition. The mailing list will keep you abreast of actions. All the info you need is on the flyers that have been circulating. Our government must know we are not willing to lose such an important Australian to their career whims. You can help by purchasing the WikiLeaks CD or donating at WikiLeaks Beat the Blockade site. There is also an array of quality merchandising from wikileaks.org, or you can throw some coins in the buckets here today or purchase a badge. It is an expensive business fighting bogus charges, an unfair financial blockade, and manage the most prolific media outlet the world has ever seen. Now, although there has been a win in Iceland regarding the visa blockade, visa will be appealing. So keep WikiLeaks and Julian Assange in your hearts. Help them, help us to leave a free world for the future. Last month, Senator Ludlam moved that the prejudicial statements made by senior government members be retracted with the backing of the coalition. I asked Senator Ludlam on Twitter, is there a time frame for Gillard et al. To retract the prejudicial statements regarding Julian Assange and WikiLeaks? He replied, well, I think their time frame is never. So your homework, we can start writing, telling MPs, and the Prime Minister particularly, Attorneys General, both Roxon and McClelland, and our Foreign Minister, to honour this motion and demand they protect Julian Assange. If history is indeed written by the victors, this is a battle we cannot afford to lose. Let truth be victorious.